Ao no Hako. Man, this is probably the first series that I've actually begun following since the start of a serialization. Any other series like Hiroaka, I started following it sometime later when it's established itself already. So that's cool. Why am I saying this? Anyways, hi there. Today I want to start talking about my first impressions on Ao no Hako, also known by its English title as Blue Box, a sports romance manga, which arguably are my two favorite genres. I don't have 11 videos on the 11 previous chapters, so I want to make this video as sort of my impressions on Blue Box. What do I think of these chapters? I doubt I'll cover all the chapters, but that does mean there will be some spoilers, so sorry about that. Also, this video may be a bit long because I'm trying to cover so much, so sorry about that too. If you couldn't tell, this is my first ever video, so please bear with my stupid shaky voice and cheesy editing and jokes. That is, if I ever get to understanding how to edit, that is. I just said the same thing. Wait a minute. For those who don't know the manga, Ao no Hako, the series, is written and drawn by Koji Miura. The story mainly follows our protagonist, first-year Taiki Inomata, and his story at Eime High School. He's a student trying to break into the badminton team, alongside his lovable yet blunt classmate, Kyo Kazahara. Like any good high school protagonist, he has a crush, and it's on first-year rhythmic gymnastics player Hina Chono. Wait a minute. Who wrote this? Sorry, Taiki's crush is on second-year basketball player Chinatsu Kano, best girl. With the summary out of the way, I'm glad that the serialization has been getting a lot of hype lately. There's a void that's been needed to be filled ever since the completion of Haikyuu, the ever-popular volleyball manga that ended last year, and that hole is a new sports manga. In addition to that, the romance genre on Jump has been a genre with its ups and downs, from hits like Nisekoi and We Never Learn, to ones that don't do too well, like the recently axed I Tell C. Of course, something like Haikyuu or Nisekoi would be pretty hard to stand up to, considering the pedestal that it has been placed on. But Miura-san's Ao no Hako has garnered surprising attention, with the one-shot that was released on August 3rd, 2020, and that has led to a serialization that started in April of 2021. One of the first things that stood out to me between the 11 chapters was Taiki. More specifically, how mature and optimistic he has been for a protagonist. Taiki is worlds away from Chinatsu. Chinatsu is a blooming star player. Taiki has barely even broken into the high school team, having just risen from junior high. Yet, he stays optimistic, positive. He gets reminded by our ever-cheerful friend, Kyo of the Gap, to which Taiki acknowledges it, but rebuttals with the famous quote hockey Hall of Famer Wayne Gretzky once said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." He knows what's stacked up against him. He understands that, but you won't get what you want if you just don't take a stab at it. I think this is great. We have so many protagonists in manga that are just, for lack of better words, wimps when talking with other characters or when they're trying to live up to something or someone. He shows that he is not always embarrassed or nervous when around Chinatsu, though that is the case most of the time. It's manga, come on. He truly does want what's best for her, as shown when he rants for her to stay in Japan and reach her dream for nationals. So when Chinatsu moves in with Taiki because of said unforeseen events, a stronger relationship, not romantically yet, but firmer than strangers who meet every morning in the gym, grows between the two. He'll still have his moments of embarrassment when being in front of his crush. That'll happen. Like in Chapter 2, he was still embarrassed by the fact that Chinatsu was living with him, but most feelings of embarrassment were dispelled when Chinatsu says she felt lucky to have stayed with him, noting that Taiki is someone that she sees a lot. This moment of bonding shows that there was actually something between the two, and having this living condition might well spur something. It is Chinatsu's calmness that makes Taiki realize he's the only one freaking out here. In fact, having Chinatsu live with him only strengthens Taiki's resolve. If he were ever to be in a relationship with Chinatsu, he doesn't want to be Deadwood. He too wants to be great. This really gets him moving. He wants to aim for nationals. But he also knows that reaching nationals isn't only for Chinatsu, though it does seem to be the case a lot of the time. It's his goal too now. You can really see it in Chapter 6. He openly admits that aiming for nationals isn't only for Chinatsu, but his passion for badminton. You do something because you love it. You do YouTube, basketball, soccer, not for money, but because you enjoy it. You enjoy the thrill and pleasure from it. He knows the road to achieving his goal will be difficult. And that's another important quality though, being true with yourself. Taiki acknowledges that he, as of Chapter 2, doesn't have the skills to make it to nationals, but that's exactly what a goal is, an objective, something to strive for. Even after improvement, even after he gets a little bit more confident, he still understands that there is more work to be done, especially after getting humbled in front of some second years by his doubles teammate Kengo Haru in Chapter 8. We'll talk about Haru more later. Seeing room for improvement in yourself is important to growth. Be too full of yourself and you may never see your true potential. And this is just a reason why I believe Taiki has a good chance of making it deep into national qualifiers in singles. Because let's be honest here, Haru is going to carry Taiki in doubles. Speaking of Haru, let's talk about him. He's a second-year high school student who's also a part of the badminton team. When first introduced in Chapter 4, he seemed as though he'd be the love rival for Taiki. That idea was later fortified when at the end of the chapter, Chinatsu and Haru were spotted walking together in a mall. To me, he seemed like an overconfident, snobby, stuck-up character. And yes, he is. Well, sorta. But he's more than that. He's caring, an absolute badminton G, and he's already in a relationship. It does beg the question, will there be such a thing as a love triangle in this manga? Outside of Kishisho, who was introduced in Chapter 11, the other people we thought of as love rivals were dismissed. Well, there's only two people, Hina and Haru. As a matter of fact, Haru, who sort of accidentally found out about Taiki's crush, has actually been very helpful to Taiki, pushing him only to be better. He's kind of like that older brother that butts around, but is very caring. Hina too has been an amazing character in the series. In the beginning, I wasn't too into her, and I have no clue why. But when Chapter 4 rolled around, she's an absolute gem. I love her interactions with Taiki and Kyo, and I just love the trio in general. In that chapter, a chapter mostly dedicated to her, we learn more about her. Her talk with Taiki showed a lot of character and personality. For one, she's a wingman, and judging by Chapter 3, she's not too good at it. But the thing is that she's trying, saying that she admired Taiki's confidence for talking with someone out of his league, a good sly dig by her, but she wants to help all she can. 2. She also showed her professionalism that many people admired. Her grace and elegance she shows on the stage dazzles everyone who watches. She has the weight of a high school that's counting on her to bring her team to nationals. She even declined a taiyaki, even though she wanted it, showing how strict she has to be on herself. To her, everything matters, even her diet, and in return, that's something Taiki admires. She has to be strict on herself, and yet, she makes it look so easy, which Taiki envies. He admires that she's a strong-willed person, that she's trying to fight along with people at the level Taiki is trying to reach. Moving on to Chinatsu, the manga hasn't really gone into her own thoughts, mostly only seeing her thoughts from someone else's POV. Like in Chapter 3, Wingman Hina wanted to see if Chinatsu wanted a boyfriend, to which Chinatsu said no. Yeah, it was pretty awkward, you know? The thing is, this is what she says for an answer, but in the one-shot, she says the same thing, but it wasn't true. Taiki and Chinatsu got together at the end of the one-shot. We only really see her thoughts come into play near the end of Chapter 7. Trying to cheer up Taiki from a brutal defeat at the hands of Haru, she brings him to a park to play some badminton. They have a moment, a heartfelt one that Chinatsu hopes will boost Taiki's morale. After that, they decide to go home, but Taiki tells her to go on first, stating it's embarrassing to go home with a girl still. Chinatsu reacts in a way that I feel I can interpret as hurt. This is probably the first clear sign of Chinatsu's feelings for Taiki. She probably wanted to use this time to hang out with Taiki, to understand him more, and in a way, Taiki pushed her away, albeit unintentionally. Also in Chapter 10, we see Chinatsu trying to help calm Taiki's nerves right before national qualifiers. After a mishap, we see Chinatsu looking embarrassed after seeing Taiki shirtless. Calming down, Chinatsu reassures Taiki of his skills and everything he's done was not for nothing. She even puts in a, "You still have another 2 years after this," to which Taiki takes badly. It's explained that in Chapter 11, Chinatsu let her emotions get the better of her, and she spoke her heart out to Taiki. She spoke of her own insecurities. She was envious that Taiki still had time, but that didn't mean that she didn't want him to succeed. She just realized she had less time now. People today try to tell the younger generation to cherish their time, not waste it, and make the most of it. I'm not saying Chinatsu wasted it, because she only barely missed nationals in her first year. But there's a bitter taste of disappointment knowing a season just ended in the blink of an eye. You have to remember, Japanese high school students only have 3 years, compared to an American's 4 years of high school. She now had 1 less year to accomplish her goal of nationals. So what's in store for this manga? Well, the Japanese version of Volume 1 is releasing on August 4th, and I'm definitely buying it. I also just heard that Aono Hako is getting another cover page on Shonen Jump issue 32. I heard that it's rare for a new series to get a healthy amount of color pages, so I think this is a good sign of longevity. This does beg the question, how long will this timeline be? As of writing this script, Chapter 11 ended with Taiki v Kishisho foreshadowed. And I did just see the raws of Chapter 12, and it is the game between the two. So 12 chapters in, we are near Nationals. Assuming Taiki qualifies, that means Taiki's first year is halfway done, I think. That's pretty quick. So I have no clue how far Miura-san is going. Maybe he'll slow down. Maybe we'll go far into the future, where we may see them as pros. Who knows? Another thing is couples. When will we start seeing relationships? I'm hoping it's not at the end, with the "and everyone lived happily ever after." I want to see the relationships grow throughout the manga's progression. Assuming it's Taiki and Chinatsu getting together, I want to see them go on dates. I want to see them comfort each other if something goes wrong. I want to see the heartfelt moments. I want to see their relationship grow. I don't want to see an "I love you" and the manga just ends. I want to see this manga stand out on Shonen Jump. Very often do we see romance and sports mangas flourish, but Aono Hako has everything it needs to be great. A strong and growing fan base, the main characters, a supporting cast, a firm foundation, and a good plot. Well, that's all I have. I'm really sorry that this video was very long, and probably very monologue. I'll try and keep the video shorter. This was just me trying to cover 11 chapters, and there was a lot I needed to cut out, so that really sucks. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be really appreciated. I don't really have a video schedule, so I don't really know what I'm going to be doing next. I kind of want to see the reception on this first video, but I'm hoping to do some chapter reviews on Aono Hako and Hiroaka, maybe some other reviews as well. So, keep on the lookout for that. But that's all from me. Stay safe and have a good one.